is Caylin Carter. I am the broadcast advisor here at NABJ-CAU. And we're so excited that you're here today.
Oh my goodness, I'm excited to be here, connect with y'all, and to just be in beautiful conversation.
Awesome. So I'm going to just read your bio a little bit, tell people who you are and, what you're about.
Oh,
So this is
it's short and sweet, short and sweet.
Okay, so this is Miss Erica Tucker. She is the founder of Ascend Public Relations Group, an entertainment communications agency specializing in traditional and new media talent. So since 2015, Erica has led publicity efforts for television programs, philanthropy, and product launches for a variety of brands. A true Southern girl with a love for culture and storytelling, she has secured covers with the world's most prestigious publications. Ascend PR Group represents several television and film talents, as well as collaborate with brands and networks within entertainment, lifestyle, and tech. So we have a very well accomplished Black woman right here with us. So we're so excited to talk to you and pick your brain a little bit about your career and what all you've done in the media industry. So we always like to get started with a little icebreaker. So what song or movie would you use to describe your life during the pandemic and why?
That's a good one. Um, what song or movie? Um, hey, that's a tough one, but I will say, definitely up and down, like for sure. If I had to kind of so like one of my favorite movies, like silly movies, is like Road Trip, you know? And
Yeah.
it's old, like early 2000s, goofy, silly movies, but it's like, ups and downs of them going on this trip and never like really feeling like they have like a solid roadmap, but they're just, kind of like running off of themes and, doing
Trying
whatever
to figure it out.
feels good. Yeah,
Oh,
like literally, they're just doing whatever come to them, and that's kind of how it's been for me. Like over the past few months, it's like, okay, all right, well, my plan completely shattered. Like what we had locked down for the upcoming year. Like, okay, so how do we rejigger this plan and really kind of still create magic? So that I would say, road trip has been the closely resemble like what has my life has been like, but in the end, it's a happy ending and all is well and
right.
all in harmony.
That's awesome. So, speaking of the pandemic, can you tell us a little bit how the pandemic has hindered you and has it affected you at all within your career?
I don't like. I will say in the very beginning, it was kind of like um kind of, I don't want to say stoppage of work, but definitely like a slowing down of everything. Because I mean, I had clients that were on set getting ready to film pilots, getting ready to, be in production for like new upcoming seasons, and an entire media plan and strategy was being implemented, but it had literally just come down to a halt.
Yeah.
Because we're literally in the middle of a pandemic. Like everything's shut down.
Mhm.
So you think about it, it's stopping filming, it's stopping money, it's stopping the actors from getting their checks, and if they ain't getting their checks, you think I'm gonna get my check?
No.
Especially so if someone's not on set, like like actors get paid, like weekly, like per episode, and if they're not getting theirs, then I know like it's gonna affect me, my livelihood, and my team. Like I have a team and overhead to cover, so the very beginning, yeah, it was kind of like a slowing down, but I will say it picked back up in the summertime because I represent a lot of activists and people who are really vocal about social justice issues. Like it just kind of ticked back off like in May and June, and people just really wanting to speak out on important topics and utilize their platform for good. So it's picking back up slowly but surely, and folks are back on set now.
That's awesome. like within your career in general, you know, a lot of the time when you're doing something that you love and you're doing it for a while,
Mhm,
sometimes you find it hard to stay motivated. And
mhm.
especially like during the pandemic, I can tell you just us being in school and being back at home, it was hard to stay motivated. So what are some like ways that you kept yourself going?
Whew. I think always going back to why I got started. That has always been that has kept me going and moving and motivated. Like, okay, you got into publicity, not for the red carpets, because there ain't no red carpet. You know, there are no
Right.
more movie premieres. So like, what's gonna keep you, like motivated? You know, at this time. You know, and I will say, going back to like why I started, and that was, you know, working with talent that were progressing an important narrative and letting folks know that we can be multifaceted and, still, you know, be true to ourselves. So that was one. Number two, you know, I still have people like looking up to me to execute, like
Yeah.
people, who wanted to remain on. Like I still had, you know, a plan to execute. I still had, you know, things to get done. So what it did, like, since like I couldn't pull up at One World Trade Center at Condé Nast to shoot a pitch, or I couldn't deliver cupcakes to the fashion editor at Vogue, you know. So it's like, okay, well, how can I get creative? Like, so it forced me to be creative, to kind of dig a little bit deeper into my bag of tricks and like ways to really kind of create and to collaborate in really meaningful ways with folks, you know.
Yeah, I think that that's like one of the most important things. Like the pandemic has not been that great at all, but I feel like it's like allowed people to come up with new ways of doing things that we're going to take with us as we progress, which is something that's super cool. Like we would never thought of some of the things that we thought of if it wasn't for the pandemic. So,
Yes, I completely agree with you. Like it kind of like your back is against the wall. Like how are you gonna move? You know, you still have to move with like, you know, creativity, integrity.
yeah,
You still need results, and you still want to make those relationships. You know, like
exactly. Yeah.
publicity is all about like relationships. So it's like, how am I gonna reach out and find these people and collaborate and tell these important stories? You know.
So, you attended the University of North Carolina at Wilmington
Mhm.
and Full Sail University. Can you talk about how both of those institutions help propel your interest in public relations?
So I was okay. So UNTW, when I was there, you know, mostly is totally a PWI through and through. But I was so plugged in on campus with students who look like me, and you know, we kind of rallied around issues that were important to us and like leadership opportunities. So attending UNTW, it forced me um, be a leader, to kind of like if there was an issue or something that was out of line, to know how to speak up and advocate for myself and, you know, folks who look like me. So that's number one with UNCW, and I loved it. I mean, it was like it's kind of hard when you look around and you see that you are like one of maybe 300 Black students among a school 20,000 people, you know, so
Right.
it's just not a lot of people. So you felt like, how do I align? Like, how do I fit in? Like, what's gonna be my story here? Like how do I make an impact? You know, and I will say UNCW kind of it kind of got me ready for making an impact in public relations here in Hollywood, and kind of carving out those moments. Now Full Sail, it was like so that program, it was more along the lines of like digital media, so kind of taught me how to and it was also a virtual situation. I would not advise, like, you do not need a master's to be a publicist or to work in like to do what I do. Like you don't need it, you know. Just putting it out there. But I will say what it did was it showed me how to be creative when you are pitching, right? So those multimedia elements that you include in pitches, you know, are you including recent tape? Are you including a really cool tagline? What's gonna make somebody open up your pitch in an email, you know? like a really cool subject line that is gonna make someone want to dig deeper and click open. So I will say that's what that program taught me. It also taught me that that not everything is technical. You know, at the end of the day, you gotta know how to talk to people. You have to know how to connect with people, like on a very, very like human level, like basic level. Like, hey, like how are you? Like, I'm just not out to, you know, be transactional. You know, it's like, so I will say like that's what that program taught me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like that's something that they say, like us millennials, like don't know how to do is to communicate effectively.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the biggest thing within journalism. We're sitting here, we're telling stories, we're trying to talk to people. And so we have to know how to do that type of thing. Speaking of being a storyteller, can you talk about the importance of storytelling and culture as a journalist?
Yeah. So I work on the other end of it with helping kind of serve as a liaison between the talent and like journalists. So when I'm reaching out, when I'm pitching, I'm presenting a clear picture for the journalists, and I'm like, I want them to want to write about it, but also feel like they can connect and it resonates with their story as well. So the point of storytelling is, you know, like how do you get people to connect, to be in relation, and to first and foremost to like care, like how's it going to help them too, like how's this going to help their audience, you know, like what is it going to do for the literary community or the editorial community, you know, like right now, like there are not a lot of Black journalists in these top fashion magazines. Like it's not a lot of at the big, like at Hearst Media and Condé Nast and the doggone Bosa Group. Like it's just not a lot of folks who look like us. So when I'm reaching out, you know, like I mostly like I'm pitching a lot of Black writers. So like they already kind of come with the understanding of like why this is important, one, and two, like how it relates to them, you know. So when I think of crafting our narrative and shifting culture, you know, I think those are like important elements that you need to have just within storytelling.
Yeah.
Like who's is benefiting and why, you know what I mean?
Yeah, knowing your demographic.
Mm-hmm. Very
So,
true.
could you tell us a little bit about why PR was the route for you? Like being in college, you go into college and you think you want to do one thing, and then you might turn out doing a totally different thing after you graduate. Like, how did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
Okay, so girl, I thought I was gonna go be the next Olivia Pope. Okay. She had me out here thinking I was gonna go work for the government. And that was initially like where I was headed. Like I wanted to work. I started like working. I had like an internship at like a local basic like community level school system. Mm. And I was like, I do not like this. But like I'm grateful for the opportunity, but it showed me that like I didn't want to work on the technical side of public relations, you know. But why I love public relations so much is that you have the responsibility to inform and educate. You know, at the very basic level of publicity and public relations is the ability to inform your public, you know, to empower, inspire, and just let people know like the state of things, you know. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. You informing and you educating folks, whether it's towards a certain side, you know, that's, you know, up for discussion. But like I really like that aspect. I like that aspect of communicating to people and you know, pushing forth a certain narrative. And in my case, it was letting people know that, you know, when Black folks get on the cover, that they just don't want to talk about hair and makeup.
Right.
Like, why do you only care about my natural curls? Like talk about something else. Like talk about my philanthropy. Like talk about, you know, what's happening in our communities and how we are, you know, with lack of funding and there's like limited resources for like the things that really matter, you know? So like that's really kind of how I ended up on the talent side. I was like, this community and hurricane advisories, like, no, that ain't for me. But the fun side and creative side, and building someone's career, like that's what I really love.
So after that first internship that you had did, like with the small like school system, like what was like a different internship that you did that really inspired you to getting where you are now? Like, did you do any other ones?
I was so silly, y'all. I'm telling you, the internship, I wish I would have done more. Biggest mistake of mine, like life. I mean, like one of the biggest things that I wish I would have done in college was taking advantage of internships over the summer. I'm sitting here, I'm trying to stack my paper, I'm trying to go work and, you know, in college, and I should have been doing internships. And I literally have this conversation with my little cousins who are freshmen in college right now. It's like, you need internships, and go outside your comfort zone, get outside of North Carolina and see how other people communicate, how they live. And it was just really important. Is that like I should have done more internships. So I graduated in 2010, and I took another year to I was like working not a great job, but just like have like one of those jobs, just to say I had a job, you know. But I moved to LA in 2012, and I really thought I could just, you know, charm my way into a assistant position at like a big firm. Girl, they said if you don't go somewhere and intern before you jump on, like, okay, like that's just not gonna happen. Like you need experience, you know. So I had to intern. I had to swallow my pride, you know, and intern. When I first got here, I'm like, I think I may be 22, 23. Yeah, and I am literally interning alongside 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who were in college. But I had to swallow my pride because I know I needed the experience, and I know that that's where I wanted to end up at, you know. And so when I got here, I interned. I worked at a talent. I interned at a PR firm. About 3-4 months, left, and then came back, and like with the job, you know. But I will say the internships, that's extremely important because you are building relationships, and like it's so important. Like I wish I would have done that sooner.
So could you tell us a little bit about like your day-to-day activities as a PR specialist?
Yeah, so I'll say day-to-day, like you're up at 6, sometimes 6:30. And the first thing, I'm looking at Google alerts. I'm seeing what people are saying about my clients. I'm looking at what's happening in media, what folks are talking about. You know, one thing that just passed was the Golden Globes being like another year of all white board, you know, and so it's like, okay, that's a really big topic in media right now. And you know, so just like kind of get a lay of the land. Okay, like this is what we got going on. This is what folks are talking about. I look at my calendar and schedule and see like, you know, what's happening. And but I always have like a guideline for what's coming up. So I'm pitching, I'm you know, executing my plan for strategy and placements and that kind of thing. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of pitching, it's a lot of phone calls. It's lots of emails. And I will say, like, everyone doesn't always answer on that first email, or they don't pick up that phone call. So my job as a communicator is to follow up, you know, and I mean, like, I'm always following up with people. Because like at the end of the day, like I gotta be like relentless.
Yeah.
I gotta get it done because I have to have those results. So I'm like I'm up early because I have to be like I have to get New York pitches in because like in 8 o'clock in LA, it's already 11 o'clock. Like the day's half over in New York, and majority of the publications are based out of New York. you know, so you got to get up and you pitch New York, and the day happens. But I will say, no 2 days are the same. Like, it's literally anything can happen. Bomb gets dropped on like some sort of like client news, and you got to react, you know. But the key to it is being proactive in that, you know. Like, how can you be proactive so that like you're not like always reacting, you know? So like that's the real key public relations and just strategy. It's like, you know, being proactive, like things that to anticipate, you know, things to kind of get ahead of, or stories to kind of get ahead of before they can amplify and can potentially cause a problem.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest things, like within journalism and media. It's not really that we know what's gonna happen next, but it's being prepared for when it does happen.
Okay.
Like having some type of idea of, okay, say this could go down, then I might have a little idea of what I can do. That I'm just gonna build off of that, and it's just gonna work out in the end because that's what's supposed to happen, you know. So that's super cool. Speaking of like pitches, could you talk to us a little bit when you were a public relations intern at Anderson Group Public Relations, you were able to pitch stories and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
How did you pitch, and how did you handle the rejection when your pitches were not picked up?
So when I was interning at Anderson Group, one of the first projects they put me on was a documentary about pumping iron and like working out, and totally sports documentary, like beefy guys. And I was like, not interested. I was like, what is this? And who could be interested in this? Because I'm not. But what I learned right there is that, girl, there is an audience for everything, okay? There's an audience for everything in a community that is really, really like wanting to dive deeper and wanting to know more about this field. So, I mean, I was pitching a lot of that. And what I learned throughout pitching that series is I was essentially a unit publicist, and that's somebody on site who is managing interviews with talent, and kind of curating, you know, press ahead of the release of the project. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. But I mean, you gotta be creative, you know, and make your pitches stand out. And I think what I learned is, one, that there's a community for everything. Mm-hmm. And then two, like to follow up, you know, everybody's not gonna answer that first pitch. Yeah. And if they don't answer the first pitch, are you gonna follow up, or are you gonna come up with another angle? Yeah. You know, and that's really kind of what I had to do. But I mean, rejection is a part of the process. Sometimes it's just not a fit, you know, it doesn't work for somebody's editorial calendar. Sometimes it's just not, like, folks are not interested. So it just honestly like varies. But, you know, I don't think I was ever sad, you know. If anything, it made me hustle a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. Go a little bit harder. Because one thing about it is I knew I was going to provide results. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So can you tell us about Ascend PR Group and what inspired you to create the agency?
So Ascend PR Group, that's my baby. I had no idea I was gonna own a PR company. I just wanted to do the work. I wanted to connect with talent who were really like doing stuff in like entertainment, who were like pushing culture forward in the terms of like, you know, within directing and writing and acting, like what's going to be our legacy like 20 years from now, you know? And I really wanted to work with talent who were, who kind of led with that, you know? So I started Ascend PR in 2016. I really accepted that I really did it. Mm-hmm. I think I was in denial the first year, you know. I left with one client. I was at another PR firm, and that's when I started working with like younger talent, like Nickelodeon, Disney stars. Mm. And then at that time, I started working with a young lady from Blackish, Yara Shahidi. And I will say, like, I mean, I have her to thank because she's like, okay, I'm following you. I'm like, follow me where, girl? I said, I don't have a home to go to, you know, like. Publicity firms were not knocking down my doors, you know, so like I have to kind of create this. And I will say, like, we have created like, you know, with that, her support, and it made me even want to go like harder because I knew that I had to land results, right? So I started the company. So like the name came from me wanting to strive for higher, to always want to do more and not settle for Hollywood saying that, hey, I'm going to give you this and you should be grateful, right? You should be thankful that I'm giving you an opportunity to even speak with me. And I got tired of that, right? I was like, I'm not about to sit here and settle for what Hollywood thinks that I should be grateful for, and like with like mediocre, like being like mediocre. And I was like, no, so I'm gonna ascend for higher. Like I'm gonna strive for higher always. So the name of my company is Ascend, to really go higher and really, really believe. So that's one. And then so there's this thing within Hollywood where like they how do I say it's very like traditional, you know, and kind of like there's like a hierarchy, and it got to a point where I was just tired of just having people steal my ideas. Like, hey, like, yeah, like, you know, this is not your time. Just, you know, send me your pitch and this and that, and I'll pitch it to the people, and oh yeah, or I'm gonna take ownership over it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So that's another reason why I started my own company. And totally ups and downs, but I would not change my journey for anything. It's been rewarding, owning the highs as well as the lows, because, you know, it's always preparing you for something greater, you know, and truly impactful.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like something that we really have to recognize is that like once we graduate, like everything is not going to be the same. Like we're not going to get one job and be there forever. Like things are going to change every day. And we're going to be on something new this year that we're not going to be on next year. And it's kind of crazy how life works like that.
It's facts, because like that's so interesting you said that, because I was raised the opposite way. Mama worked for the state 20, 30 years, you know? And grandparents the same way. Like they go somewhere, they stick with one field, and like that's just at the job for 30 years, collect the pension, go home, retire, you know? So I kind of grew up thinking that like that was gonna, like that's just kind of what happens. But then when I was like, okay, I don't want that. Like I don't see that for myself. So like we have to move and kind of operate in that space. And I totally like, you know, commend you for even like for you knowing that like that just is what it is. Like, you know, move forward in like faith and like truly owning that experience, you know. That's the beautiful thing.
So as a public relations strategist, do you feel that any publicity is good publicity?
No, I wish people would stop saying that. No, that is not the case. And I don't know where that came from. Like, I don't know if that came from like an old Hollywood movie or something, but all publicity is not good publicity, okay? The bad stuff can really harm you too. Like people out there saying crazy stuff, and people folks on Twitter like saying things like that can really kind of harm your narrative, and you're gonna have to address it either way, like that, you know. So the key is to be proactive and to strategize as to how to course correct the problem, you know. But one thing that you cannot do is you cannot run from it, you know. People see right through that, and you have to address it like in a really way that is true to you, your story, your journey, and where you're going. But that ain't true, and I wish folks would stop saying it. Be intentional. You got to be intentional.
Yeah. So, have you ever worked with someone that went against your moral beliefs? Like, if so, how was that experience?
No, I haven't. Because one thing about it, we have to be aligned.
Yeah.
You know, we got to be on one accord. And if I feel like you're moving without integrity or like good morals, like, then what are we doing? Because you are not about to be out here messing up my name that I worked so hard for. And it's so darn hard in entertainment and being a Black publicist in Hollywood. You're not about to mess me up. That's number one.
Right. Okay? You really got a seat at the table.
Okay? I mean, like seriously,
Yeah.
like we're on the corner, okay?
Right.
So you're not about to be out here messing me up. So if I see folks start to move like that, or that, you know, if someone wants to collaborate with me and they're on the other end of the spectrum, like it's just not gonna work. And I'm okay with that, you know. And I've had certain colleagues, you know, sometimes feel like, you know, shoot, you know, the money coming in, the check coming in, I'm good. But let me tell you something, all money ain't good money. Okay.
Right.
It's just not, you know. There's gonna come a time in the day where you're gonna have to, like, you know, account for that. And it's
Yeah.
like, you are here amplifying this narrative, or this person, and they're out here like supporting and pushing forth a awful narrative. It's like, no, like I don't have my name attached to that. No, thank you.
Some stuff just isn't worth it.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
No, your name, your integrity, like your peace of mind, mental health, all of it. It's just not.
Right. So what are some struggles that you faced early on in your career that have helped you to become who you are today and in the place that you are?
In the very beginning, I got a lot of pushback. Surprisingly, like it's interesting. A lot of pushback because of how I kind of carried myself.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've had people tell me like, hey, you're like, you know, really great, you know, you should kind of work to kind of be, what's the word? You shouldn't act as Black. You shouldn't wear your hair natural. Like you need to, like, you know, get you a good wig, or like flat iron your hair, you know, like, you know, don't, you know, when you come on the phone, don't like sound Black. Like I've literally had people, no, for real, I have people to tell me this, like, you know, you have to kind of come through like on the phone, and like you should not come through as a Black woman. I was like, what? You mean I gotta completely be the exact opposite of how I was raised and how I want to move forward in this industry? Excuse me. So like one of the things that like I take very seriously is, you know, like showing up as my full self, not being ashamed of that, and kind of owning and embracing my natural hair and the fact that I'm not a size 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone like it, like the when you see publicists like on carpets like that, size 2, itty bitty, yeah. 800 Gucci bags on, like, you know, and like you kind of walking that talk, you know, and I don't want to be like that, you know. I wanted to be the cool publicist that you can call and vent because like, you know, vent because I don't know, like something on set happened crazy, or, you know, you can talk to me at a photo shoot like a real person, a like relatable person, you know. That's really how I wanted to be. So, but that the fact that I show up in my full self, that I, you know, I embrace my curls, and I encourage my clients to do the same, and to show up as their full self, like that has been a really important factor, you know, as I move in this industry, to help my business, and for folks to know that they know who and what they're getting when they collaborate with me.
Yeah. I think that's so important, just being in media, because like how are people going to want to trust you if you aren't being your true self? Like the whole idea is to harness relationships. And if I feel like I don't even know you, like why would I want to work with you? Like why would I want to talk to you? So it's kind of like weird. They're telling you to not be yourself, but you know, you're supposed to do all these different things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm supposed to do all these different things, and then, oh, you know, just be fake, you know. And I mean, the craziest stuff. I never forget that meeting. It kind of like, it bothered me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh my God.
Like, how did you handle that? Like, did you say anything, or like, were you just like, okay, and then like,
I did like a, okay, but I took inventory because this young woman, well, this woman at this time, like she was at a big firm. And everyone kind of aspires to go into those big firms and, you know, like do great things, you know.
Yeah.
And knowing that that's how she was, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to be like that. And
Yeah.
everyone was like, you need to speak with this person. Like, you gotta speak with this girl. Like, she's it. Like, you should model your career after her. I sat down with her. I was like, oh no, ma'am. No.
Oh, wow. It's kind of crazy. Like you be thinking somebody's like super awesome. And then like when you meet them and then you really see how it is behind closed doors, it's a whole different situation.
No. I was like, oh, that's how you move? Oh, okay. It's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So, given everything that is happening around the world in the Black community, how have you been able to find joy? And how have you been able to prioritize your mental health and self care? I know you're really busy and you got a lot going on. So, like, how are you making time for yourself?
That is a good question. And it's something that I'm still figuring out to do to this day. One thing that I try to do is keep Sundays for me. I don't answer emails immediately. I might do them on a Sunday night, like end of the day. But Sunday is like the one day where it's just, okay, Erica, it's cleansing. I'm reading, I'm relaxing, I'm sleeping. And it kind of helps me be a little bit more intentional in how I'm moving, during the week,
Mhm.
So that's one thing. And then I will say with prioritizing, okay, so being a publicist is literally a thankless job. You're on 24/7. Like I'm literally in the middle, like I had it's like Christmas vacation, and I had a client, like there was a situation that popped up, and like you got to handle it,
Yeah.
24/7. Crisis don't care that it's the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, with that, like, there becomes like a building of like, piling up of this, like, sometimes trauma and stress that, it takes a minute to kind of pull that back and kind of unplug from, and, you carry that, So, I think how I have started to kind of like heal from that is like Sundays are my days off. And I take a lot of walks. I try to take maybe 2 walks a day, just to get up, walk away from the computer, get off my phone.
Mhm.
And I love podcasts now, so like that's like been my jam.
I've been listening to like the podcast where like the people come and tell their story. I don't
Yeah,
know what it's called, but I found it and I'll never let it go.
I love
Like
podcasts.
they really do change. And then like it's so hard to disconnect from like social media and like your phones nowadays. It's like everything runs by it. So like you try to take a little social media cleanse, you to miss everything that happened in the world.
You don't miss everything. And the
Right.
thing is like, so I was like, I'm not getting on TikTok. I'm not getting on TikTok, I'm just not, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like that's enough.
Right.
And now TikTok has become a really important vertical for talent that like I have to be well versed in and like aware of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just like never ending. Like you cannot unplug and you can't get away from it.
Honestly, yeah, it's totally like the game has changed so much over the past 5 years alone. It's incredible. And I'm just ready to see like where are we gonna go in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of the future, what are some of your hopes for PR in the future?
I hope for PR, I hope that I think like as a general, not so much talent publicity. I hope that we get back to like the basics of public relations, understanding that the goal is to serve others, to serve people, to inform and educate people, whether whichever way, but like that's the ultimate goal, like to get back to the basics, of explaining the who, what, when, where, and why, and why folks should like really care. That's number one. As far as entertainment publicity, I really hope that we create multiple pipelines to get brown and black people into this entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
That we can create agencies that reflect our values, that truly reflect who we are as people, and like that can speak to like where we're going. You know, one thing I will say, like when I first started out, I was like, I'm not gonna work with, like, I just want to do film and TV talent.
Yeah.
And then you know, I started working with an influencer, which I don't like that word, but like initially that's what they were called, social media stars, influencers. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just try it. And I will say, like I hope that that I am more open to working with the variety of talent. Like that's something I want to do. I want to be more representative of like where we are headed. Like it's so fascinating. Like there are TikTokers. Is that what they call TikTok? They are getting like 3-page spreads in Vanity Fair.
Yes, going up to the award shows.
Okay.
And presenting awards. It's crazy.
Awards, like getting bags, like collaborating with brands, like money. You see that ocean spray guy? Like, my goodness.
It's
like
crazy.
that is like mind blown. So I hope that that I also move with the times, you know, that I don't get so stuck in my comfort zone, that I'm continuing to stretch and go beyond, you know, what I think, you know, publicity should be. So that's my goal, and I hope that, you know, we continue to empower folks. That's, at the end of the day, that's all I want to do. Empower and inspire people.
That's awesome. So we do have a few questions from the students, so we're going to go ahead and get into those. So Gianna asks, when gaining new talent to represent, how does that process work? Do you pitch yourself, your business to them, or do they come to you?
That's a good question. I have been very blessed because I have not gone after anybody in a long time. People have been coming to me, and I think that this speaks to the work that I've done with other talent. You know, do the work, and like people will see that. You know, that's like that whole mantra of like, build it and they will come. You know. But I will say in the beginning, I was reaching out to managers, agents, you know, trying to set up meetings. And at the time they were like, who are you? Like, you're not at the big firms. Like, we don't know you. So I just had to build where I was. And I did that with working with the agents that I had within my reach, within my network. And it's kind of building those relationships. But I think for someone who is starting out, the key is to work where you're at right now. Like, okay, so you have someone who's in maybe like a junior manager, you know, network, reach across, you know, build a relationship and kind of go from there. But because everything is truly about relationships. Like, a manager is not gonna put you, like, you brand new, like nobody's gonna vouch for you. Like, they're not gonna like put you with them. So relationships, build those, do the work, and everything else will follow beautifully.
Yeah, it's all about who you know nowadays.
It really is, girl. You do not need a degree. You don't.
You know somebody, you can get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I say that, and not to say that you don't need a degree, but like an advanced, like a master or PhD, like you don't need that. You know, you need someone that's gonna vouch for your character, and someone that knows that you are going to do the work at the end of the day, and that you're gonna bring results.
So Kenyatta asks, in honor of Women's History Month, who are some women who inspire and motivate you?
My mother, my goodness, being raised as a single mom in North Carolina, I just seen how hard she fought for me to have a better life, to kind of be enriched with a variety of programs within the area, arts, media. I was a marketing nerd and geek, loved every bit of it. So like, my mom was always sending me to these, I was always going to these conventions, because like I would like kill these marketing campaigns. So like, she did what she had to do to make sure that I didn't miss one. And then as far as hold on, I totally blanked on the question because I looked down at the question on here. Oh, and then women. Okay, Yvette Noel Short, like my PR godmama, who is publicist to so many stars, Beyonce being number one, like being one of her clients. Like she has helped me and guided me in so many different ways.
Wow.
Has brought me on to projects, who's advocated me and kind of vouched on my behalf. So like she has just stepped in so many times, and I'm forever grateful. So I love her and adore her deeply.
So what is some advice that you would give your younger self personally and professionally?
Personally, never lose sight of who you are. Do not let people dictate how you move based off of their lack of integrity or them not being respectful, because like people throw things at you, but you cannot be swayed by it. You got to keep your calm and composure. And like just be you. Like I truly believe that timing is everything, and like the wheels are gonna slow to a grind, and and both are gonna get theirs regardless, either way, but that's not a reflection of me, and I will say professionally is, it's all about like building a team, a solid team. I remember seeing this like a quote card a few weeks ago, and it was like, you got to build a team so strong that nobody knows who's the president or head honcho. And like I felt that, everyone on your team should execute effectively across the board. They should know like, how to move, how to act as an extension of you, a reflection of you. And like building people who like get the vision, and know how to execute. So I will say like that's been like super important to me.
Awesome. So Gianna asks, what is your protocol if there is a breaking news story that does not put your talent in the most positive light? Like, how do you get ahead of the story when it's already trending?
If it's already out, I mean, shoot, if it's already out there and already trending, you gotta get a statement out there, collect the facts, decide what you want to put out there versus what you don't want to put out there. You don't want to put out anything that's going to incriminate your client, you also don't want to put your client in a bad light, state the facts, state that you're working to remedy the situation. But one thing you can't do is you cannot hide from it.
Yeah.
You can't run from it. You gotta, face it like a human, like, like
people see that.
Like I hide from you. Yeah. Oh, like, oh no, like just own it, like you messed up, be honest, own it, and like figure out like next step, like how you're gonna own it and like move forward.
Yeah. So Caylin asks, did you ever have any kind of mentor in this field? I guess you did say that Yvette was like your mentor. Yeah.
I wish in the beginning, no, there wasn't. I also didn't see a lot of people who looked like me. Like I was like looking for one. It was hard. Like I didn't have one. So, but I will say like that's something that I wish I would have been a little bit more consistent on in the beginning. Coming to LA, I should have found a mentor in publicity a lot sooner. There were a lot of fake moments, like where people were like fake trying to care and like fake trying to help, and but as far as like having like a true mentor, like I didn't have that, but I had a lot of friends who held me accountable, who supported me when I was interning at Anderson Group and doggone working nights at Marshall's, making minimum wage, people who really pushed me and, never gave up on me. So I'll say like surrounding yourself with good people who are gonna hold you up, gonna lift you up, like that's incredibly important.
It's crazy like how your support team will really take you through like just last week you will be ready to quit, and next thing you know, blessings are coming your way, and you're just like, how did we get here?
Like, how am I here? Like, why? Like how? And in a number of God, I truly believe in having like that my faith and like great people around me. Like that has been my like sustaining forces. Yes, like you gotta have a good crew, but like people who are not out here like fake caring and like, oh yeah, sis, you know. But it's like no, like you gotta like mean it, you know.
And people who put you on. Like those are the people that like you love the most, because not everybody's gonna do that for you. And that's what an incredible like support team is. Like you're not just sitting here like listening to me cry, but if you see something, you sending me stuff, you're like, girl, you need to apply for this, it closed tonight. Like those type of relationships.
Absolutely. Yes, I totally agree with you. Yes. And like just like the whole thing is like putting other folks on too. Help me get a bag. You know, I'm gonna get this bag, but I'm gonna help you get this one too. You know what I mean?
It's like when Tyler Perry was talking about like somebody else's purpose is within what you're supposed to be doing or something like that. Like I carry that with me. Like I feel like that's the thing that like keeps me motivated. Like you know that there's somebody else that's counting on you. So you don't know who it is, but you gotta keep going.
You gotta keep going.
Right.
I agree.
Gianna asked, I think this is our last question. She said, are you accepting interns for the summer?
I am. Please apply. Y'all have my email address, please. I am. Please send them to me. Like accepting interns right now too for spring semester. Like I have interviews. I think Friday. So like send them my way. And I really like for me like I really want to get more people into entertainment PR. Like I really want to help in that regard, you know? So any way that I can do that, interning and like true educating, like that's what I want to do.
Yeah. And I love that like you're so about the diversity and inclusion. Like I feel like a lot of people and a lot of like companies say like, yeah, I'm into diversifying and putting people on and you know getting people of all walks of life in there, but they're not about it for real. They'll say that, but then like when you look at their team, it's not showing at all.
Hold on, it's all white folks.
Right.
It's like, where's this?
Exactly. How can we get in contact with you? Like you want to drop your email or LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn, you can drop it in the chat.
Yeah, I got a LinkedIn. Let's see, everyone. So I'm gonna give y'all my email address too, and put everything right here. You can reach out anytime. I may be a little bit slow, as y'all know, to respond, but I always respond.
That's all that matters.
And then my Instagram too.
Yeah. Gianna wanted to know if we needed any previous PR experience, you know, when trying to apply.
Not interning, no. The whole thing is to learn, you know, as an intern. And that you have good energy. Like I have to be able to know that I can count on you and have a good conversation with you, you know?
Somebody you can talk to. It's not gonna be awkward.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Let me, y'all know I'm technologically like challenged. Let me find this LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn and just under Erica Tucker. Okay.
Awesome.
And I'll put that in here as well. But yeah, I'm here. Y'all like reach out. Like that's literally like my email. Instagram, Twitter is the same. I'm not really great on Twitter, but I'm on Instagram.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's like using Twitter as the new like journalism. Like that's where you go to for your news. I don't be on Twitter at all. I don't even know who to follow on Twitter.
It's coming back though. It's really coming back. Like when I first moved out here, like it was the thing. Like Twitter, like what's the thing?
Like that's what I first had mine.
Yeah, like that's where everyone goes. So it's coming back, and honestly, like I find a lot of journalists on Twitter, like people who are like looking for stories, like a lot of people, like and have formed great relationships just off of Twitter too. So it's coming back. I'm not counting it out now. One thing I'm trying to stay away from is TikTok.
TikTok, yes. And then you can't stop scrolling on TikTok. You keep going. And then like your For You page be so accurate. It's like everything you really want to see.
It's like, look, y'all, if I see this doggone feta cheese pasta one more time.
And they were talking about the girl didn't put the black pepper, and they were like, where's the seasoning? They did her so wrong.
They did. They did.
We appreciate you coming. We enjoyed this conversation.
I've enjoyed
we hope to speak with you again. And as always, it's just amazing to talk with you. And thank you for all your advice.
Of course, y'all, I'm here. Let me know how I can be of service. Like I am here. If I can make any connections or offer any advice, I'm here. Use me up. And I really appreciate y'all even wanting to chat with me. I'm like, literally, I'm like, I'm kind of boring. Like, I don't know what we're gonna talk about, you know, but I appreciate the opportunity. And
thank y'all so much.
Thank you,
guys. Have a good one.
Thank y'all. Y'all do. Take care. Y'all be safe.
Bye-bye.